Thanks for bringing your perfect beards with us again today. So today we're going to continue to focus on our digital sales dashboard that we built out for e-commerce companies. And today we're going to focus on the revenue section of the digital sales dashboard. So let me share my screen here. We're just going to dive right into these metrics. And one of the reasons we put this section at the top is because when you're a business owner or on the marketing team, or you have some role on the e-commerce team, you want to start as high level as possible. And what is the best way to kind of get, that rapport built with everybody is like, how is our revenue performing at the top level? Like what's going on in the business? And so Austin, I'd love for you to walk us through here, what you built, why you built these two next to each other, these kind of period over period charts.
Yeah, so these are two of the most common period over period comparisons that most people like. We've got year over year, and this is calendar year. If anybody has a specific fiscal calendar, we can obviously change to that. But right here, we're showing that year over year. And then we've got month over month. And what we typically do is the current calendar month versus the month previous. But it depends on the business. A lot of businesses are more seasonal. And so if you care more about seeing, August versus August in the previous year, we can make all those same adjustments. But those are the periods that it's showing. And I think it's most important for when you're initially looking at this graph, what you want to look at are the summary numbers, because they're so direct here. Right? On this year over year, we show you exactly how much you have year to date, and then a direct comparison showing you the percentage. With this data we're seeing here, we're down 13%. Hopefully that's not a big surprise to anybody, but fire alarms might be going off if you see that you're down that much year over year. And then if we click in to view this graph full screen, we get a lot more interactive capability. And if you're seeing this graph for the very first time and you look down at the beautiful colors down below, you see a bunch of lines and a bunch of bars, and it might take a second to get your bearings here, but a lot of great insights can come from this. And I'll just talk through how it's laid out so everybody can feel comfortable reading this graph. We've got two lines, and as you hovered over them, AJ, we saw that these are actually running total or cumulative lines throughout the represented year. So just adding on each month as you go, so you can see what your total was at year end, aggregating all the months together. And having those lines makes it so you can compare the two lines against each other for the months that are completed. And, when we're looking at the start of the year data, January through May and June even, we were up year over year. So we're doing real good at the start of the year, and then something's happened
right here, right?
Recent months, and we can see what that is as we look at the bars too, right? We can see what the bars are doing is giving you the actual values of those any given months. We can see starting in June, in July, and even more so in August, we've got some trouble going on here. So this card, having it right up front, its purpose again is to give you that context and that insight so that you can start asking these other questions like, well, why is that happening? What's going on? And we can start to look at that information in other graphs, but also in the quick filters, if you want to open those up, AJ. Some really cool quick filters we've got on here. If you're selling via multiple channels, that's what this merchant section is. So if you're on Amazon and Shopify or ClickBank, Limelight, if you're, a lot of people are selling a bunch of different places, you can turn these on and off. And why don't we just test that out here?
So here we're saying Amazon by itself. So we're at this much year to date, but we're down 25% just on the Amazon store. Right?
Yeah, that's interesting. And if we turn on Shopify,
okay,
we're up. So we just honed in on the problem, right?
Right. Just a few clicks.
Figure out what's going on there.
Yeah. So if you put them together, right, it's everything averaged together.
Mhm.
Right. But that's very interesting. We've got clients that, and Jeremy, I don't know how many merchants you had. It's either merchants or like, whatever is processing the money, and, or like maybe it's a technology stack, but we've had people in there with Shopify, Amazon, Infusionsoft, and ClickBank, like all four. And so they want to be able to have that high level quick access. And these are great at those meetings in the morning with your teams. Like, let's start off with revenue. Where are we at? If you see percentages down like that, or percentages down like, what was it? Amazon, right? Like that's alarming, right? We need to talk about something. Whereas if you're up, then that meeting may be a little bit shorter. Be like, hey, well, everything's looking pretty good. We don't really need to dig into too much, but it's a good way to kind of use your time in these meetings.
Yeah, I know, like when I'm going over this stuff with clients, that's kind of what we do, is we look at the overall picture first. And then, I mean, like most things, right? Then you drill down. And I'm generally looking at, we kind of bring it back to like a stoplight, right? Like, green, yellow, red. And if everything's going as planned, because everybody has goals, if everything's kind of going neutrally as planned, there's really not too much to talk about. You're looking for those red and greens, right? So like in this example, the Amazon is doing really bad. So then you dig in, okay, how do we fix this? What can we do? What are the strategies we can implement? That sort of thing. And then the other side on Shopify too is that's up whatever it was, 200% or whatever. Yeah. So it's like, hey, we have this golden goose now. What do we do with it, right? How do we make the golden goose bigger? So that's kind of how I go about looking at that. I like this dashboard because it's just, you're sitting there with your coffee and you need like, hey, what happened yesterday? What's going on? And just having the trend lines. I've actually had literally in my life where we didn't have a visual graph and we were just looking at numbers month to month. And it takes you so much longer to see the trends, because you don't, like, every time you look at it, you're not going back a year and saying, okay, it was 50 grand and then it was 45 and then 35, like it takes you a lot longer to notice when things are going bad, versus if you have the trend lines, then it's like, oh, exactly, shit, going down,
There's a lot of things you could do, right? It's more of like, we want to focus on saving time, energy, and money. And if that means not having an hour-long dive into metrics when you don't need to, then better. So that's why this is very simple and clean up front, just to help get everybody focused. And these continue to go down. Austin, you built these all in. Another huge question is, well, how is our repeat business, our repurchases versus first-time orders, right? This is a big deal too. So, walk me through that, and I'll click through these.
Yeah, so a lot of marketing teams, their efforts are geared towards acquiring new customers, right? And so if you want to get a good feel for how your efforts are influencing that, you can toggle off repurchase order like you just did, and see how revenue is coming in from brand new customers. And so we've come up with our own logic on the back end that tags a new customer versus when they're coming back to repurchase. So this is really easy for us to do. But seeing that you're down even more on acquiring new customers, right? Something's going on with the marketing there.
And this is across all the channels, but we can also do that same thing where we're like, let's just look at Amazon and Shopify. But if we just look overall, we want to start at that kind of question, right? So if they're negative 22.1% on first order, then on repurchases, we're doing great, right? 74% over last year. Okay, that's awesome. So subscriptions are staying in, attrition rates are, lower. That's a really good business model right there, but we're not acquiring a lot right now. So what is the marketing team doing or not doing? Any other insights here, Jeremy, how you use this?
Not really. I mean, I think you hit it all. It's that's a pretty simple one, It's again, it kind of just comes back to knowing what's going well, knowing what's not going well, and then saying, okay, what do we do based on that?
And also, this used to take people a long time just to do this. Like we're nonchalantly clicking, but the genius behind this and what Austin has built here is that this is all piped on the back end. You don't get to see all the stuff, all the roots under the soil. This is just very simple. There's huge pivot tables and Excel beasts that have been created to do this, but we've piped it in. So it's just so simple for a business owner to click through. So I think that's a huge thing to understand, is like a lot of these insights aren't that easy to do. But with the power of Domo and with our team, we built some cool stuff here. So that's an awesome one too. And then last but not least, you can do this is discount code or promo code. You can use it different ways, right? This is just if anybody's adding in that code on a page, and we can track all of those individually. So you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this would be most useful if you've got codes that you're reusing and are active more than a single day, right? To get the comparison. But if you're running a specific code and you want to quickly see what revenue is for that code, and you can filter down to it, and it automatically drills instant insights into when they were used, how much revenue was earned there. So.
And not everybody uses these. So this will, if we have clients that want it, we'll put it in there. But if they don't use coupon codes at all, it doesn't really make sense here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So not too much. And then
Yeah,
let's jump over. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add that another really common quick filter we have, we don't have it on this dashboard right now, but we basically install it for every single one of our clients, is a product filter.
Oh,
So
right.
that's really valuable to be able to drill in and see how any individual product is performing.
Nice.
And super quick insights there.
Yeah. So month over month and year over year, we were really focusing more of the year over year one. The month over month is basically the exact same. You're just going to get that more granular view of it, right?
Yep. So I think the trend lines are even more important in this graph, and the bars a little bit less, because you've got weekends on different days of the month. So if one bar is higher than the bar from the previous month, not too concerning. But this still gives you the insights on when you're seeing huge spikes. Still gives you the trend throughout the month. So hopefully you're up in the trend line overall. But if we were looking at this data and we see these spikes, it's probably that this business model is something that where maybe they've got their auto ships scheduled to ship on a given day each week. So that would be why we have these 7-day increments in between. Or maybe they run ads only on Tuesday or something. Who knows? But
or launches, just like or mini launches, something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yes, very interesting. Just different view, but still very, very positive and very, very helpful to have right next to each other, right at the top of the digital sales. That's what we start with. Now, there's, of course, an entire financial dashboard that we've also created that helps you get more granular, but this is that snapshot of digital sales. How are we working? How are we performing? And so that's great. Anything to wrap up that conversation, guys?
One thing that I like for month over month is looking at traffic trends, right? So if you have like your traffic channels, you have Facebook and Google and YouTube and all the different ways to get traffic. That's a good way to to kind of dig in and look at the trends of each individual traffic source. Because I'm sure every single person listening to this knows how that goes. Everything's going perfect with Facebook until it's not. And it's
right.
It's good to see that and see a lot of times it's, this, and then you get banned or you get whatever, you get suspended or, whatever they do, they make an algorithm change or whatever it is. But sometimes it's more gradual, right? And you don't even notice. Like you're doing 10 grand a day. And then by the end of the month, you're doing 7 grand a day. And it doesn't seem like that much, but it's a 30% difference over a month. That adds up, and that's a good way to see those, you just look at it and say, oh, wow, it's going down the whole month. What's going on?
Right. Where do we stop that, and being able to see that earlier and then stopping it instead of being able, because I know a lot of people like to, like you said, see it in this chart format, or this is a graph format, but like in cells and rows and columns. And some people can think that way, but this really helps you see those overall trends up and down and the spikes. So then you can go take action from it. So that's just the how is our revenue performing section. I think we're good on this one. We've got other sections to jump into. We'll kind of allude back to this one and do another metric video on our financial dashboard down the road. So thank you guys for this one. And then we'll go on to the next section. Awesome. I am joined by Jeremy and Austin again, and we are jumping into another section here called what we like to call, where is our revenue coming from, right? We like to title these based on business questions because it's super easy for everybody to relate to. So this is, so we started with how's our revenue performing, the customer lifetime value section. And then this is the next one, obvious question is, where's our revenue coming from specifically? So let's talk about kind of as a whole, all of these, and then we'll jump into each one. So Austin, I'm going to lead off with revenue by state.
Yeah, this is pretty straightforward here. Just showing you the breakdown of where revenue is coming from. Um, and if you are selling things worldwide, we can do maps that include the entire world here as well.
Yeah, that's really
But
cool.
this just gives you the ability to come in, and as you hover over any state within the graph, it's going to show you both the total revenue numbers for that state.
Mm.
And then with the color coding, you can see, how dense it is. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So Jeremy, from a marketing standpoint, like right off the bat, this can be used a lot of different ways, right? Like we're talking geo-targeting ads, doing a mastermind or a event or meetup where you have like a big base of clients. Like what other insights could be derived from this from like a marketing side?
Yeah. Well, another thing too, I know a lot of even like direct mail, newspapers, like, any offline stuff, if you want to test the radio, if you want to test offline, you look at that and say, hey, well, California is clearly bringing in tons of visitors. So why don't we start there? Stuff like that. If you're, even if you're doing customer calls, it's like, hey, start with customers in California. So it's really just about breaking down and giving yourself kind of the best chance.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, geo-targeting, that sort of thing. If you're testing out like a new offer, start there, then expand, if it's a winner. There's a lot. The other part about it is this can sometimes give you kind of better insights into who your customer is, right? So if you're looking at this and you have California and Texas, right? What are the similarities between people who living in California and Texas that can tell you something about your customer? You know what I mean? So you can even look at it that way. I know I've used that, in the past for certain things, or maybe you get people that are like a lot up in like the northeastern states. So what is that? There's something about your product that's appealing to those people that are living. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to kind of dig in and look at that and really understand your customer better.
Definitely. And the other cool thing is when you know where they are, you can also look at the public data sets. So we can bring in other pieces of data, not necessarily you would put it in this graph, but we would go create another metric that says, hey, well, we're going to, Florida, Texas, California, and Washington or whatever are like the top ones. Well, let's go look into some of the demographics of those people and those zip codes specifically where they're at and start to target them, like you said, direct mail, and also just gather like who are these people. Crafting a better customer profile over time can really add to that data for follow-ups and new sales, new products, things like that.
Yeah, and if I could jump in with my my overly critical data eye on this one as well.
Of course.
You see big revenue or dark revenue numbers on California and Texas.
Yeah.
Why would that be? What's common between those? Well, they have the biggest population in the country. So that wouldn't be too surprising. So you'd want to, come at it with an understanding of that. And really we have something in beta that we're going to be adding to this dashboard real soon where we've brought in census data. So we can show you not only we can compare it to population size. And so maybe you have more revenue coming from California, but a higher percentage of revenue based on population is coming from Montana, right? So with that extra bit of detail, you could then go and do all those things you all were both talking about even better, trying to hone in on who your market really is.
Yeah. I like it with the product too, because most people are selling multiple products and different types of products are going to appeal to different people, right? So if you have a weight loss product, right, that's probably going to appeal more to people in like Florida, California, kind of the beach states, right, than it is to like Kansas, right? Just overall. So that's another way to look at it too, is like, breaking down by product. Maybe in Kansas they want more. I don't know what they want. Leg building so they can push their cattle around. I don't know. Whatever people in Kansas do, But that's again, it comes down to breaking it down, right? Looking at the segments, doing an 80-20 on it.
Yeah. So it's just one. We don't need to spend too much more time on it. We're always going to have these quick filters over here that add more things to it, but it's a great way to look at overall what's going on. And the new update that we're going to be having is, like Austin says, is going to be pretty cool.
I like that. Yeah.
Actually, let me go back in order here. So after that one, we've got revenue by product, right? So we're just having all your product names would be here, and then it's pretty simple. It's just, I think most Shopify, most of the internal dashboards do this, but we're actually like also able to say, are we, you will know if it's got taxes in it or refunds out of it, right? True revenue by product is the way that we define it.
Yeah.
So that's a nice little easy.
Can you go ahead and just click on product A for me right here? Don't expand it. Just click on product A. Mm-hmm. Boom. I'm not sure if everybody else.
Wait, did you
that just happened?
I saw something.
So here, you clicked on product A, and that actually went through and filtered all these other cards in the dashboard based off that. So rather than going in, it's still huge value to go in and play with the quick filters that we have on here, but you also are able to do this same filtering on the top level.
So I clicked on product A, and it's highlighted now, not these. So that's the difference. So product A is highlighted, and then this changed over here.
Yep. Now that card is filtered to only showing revenue from product A as well as all these other.
So you see right here, all the blue little filters show product name A is filtered. So that would be your name of, whatever product. Jeremy's, awesomeness product would be here, and it's going to filter all the way through. So that's cool. So you can click on that product specifically and see, based on this product, what are the percentage of customers that are new, right?
I love
purchases from new customers. Are we up or are we down on that specific product? So if I go back and unclick that, then now we're looking at all four, and now we're back to like different numbers.
I love that. Cool. I got to say, I never even knew that was a thing. It's
fairly new. Yeah.
Okay. That's why I missed it. Yeah. That's a big time saver, because then you don't have to click and dig into each of the individual cards. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Then you've got so the promo code comparison, only promo codes for that product A are these two. So that's really neat. That's what is that called? A page filtering?
Yeah, just interactive page filtering. Yeah.
Interactive page filtering. That's awesome. So I'll go back to the general, to all of them. Am I on all of them?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm on all of them again. So that was really cool. But we've got percentage of purchases from new customers. So what does this really mean?
Yeah, so what this one is showing us is, again, thinking back to previous conversations we've had, we want to know if we're attracting new customers, or really, I guess it depends on your business model. If you're trying to grow a subscription business, then you would probably want to see this percent of purchases from new customers steadily go down as you build your customer base. So it really depends on what your goals are, but this just gives you that insight into what is happening here. So if, we see this downward trend, maybe that is a good thing for this customer, where they've got a lot of recurring customers coming back and purchasing in these months, or maybe they stopped getting new customers altogether. Maybe they turned off marketing or something's broken there. But for some reason, they're not getting as many new customers as a percentage of their total customer base that are purchasing within the given month.
Got it. But good to know, right? Definitely good to know and to keep an eye on. Let me go back out to right here. So we've got percentage of purchases from new customers and AOV trend. So AOV is average order value trend, and this is by month. So this one's a customer count with the line graph here. I'll jump into it. This is the last 12 months by month. Customer count is the line graph right here. So that's how many customers they actually have by the month right here.
Yep.
Right?
How many customers are purchasing from them?
Are purchasing from them in that month specifically. So that's a nice thing to look at if you can just get your eyes on that. And then the AOV is the average order value for that month.
Yep.
One thing I like here is that most people don't really do is looking at the discount code with AOV. Right. So if you're running promotions, a lot of people are worried if they discount the product, that, people aren't going to come back, that sort of thing. They're going to kind of cheapen the brand value. This is a way to actually prove that assumption, right? If you're doing massive, discounts or whatever versus, giving a bundle, right? It's the same price, but they're getting a gift or whatever.
Yeah.
You could actually compare that and say, hey, look, it was like on the front end sale, we made the same amount of money, but what's happening to those different types of customers long term? And then for your future promos, hey, we should keep discounting, which is generally not the case, or we should just keep doing like more like bonus type promos, which is generally better for promotions.
Yeah. And there's we've had a lot of customers come in and do trial offers or the free shipping offers because everybody's doing it, but they don't understand that those people aren't coming back to purchase. They're sometimes, and this is in general, that they'll learn that they're not actually making the money back they thought they were from those, and they're just getting cheaper clients. They don't have an average order value goes way, way, way down on those. And they don't come back to purchase. So this is a really good chart for finding that. And then also AOV by merchant or what you're using, like what is the average order value for Amazon? Okay. 26.31 overall, but then let's look at Shopify. Okay. Interesting, right? So we had revenue differences on the chart above in revenue, but as far as average order value, people are buying more on Amazon than they are on Shopify. Not too surprising, but Amazon does have, more discounted prices and stuff. Usually people are maybe charging more in another Shopify. So that's very interesting for this customer's profile. Cool. Anything else for AOV?
Nope.
No, I mean, I know with merchant, one thing a lot of people miss I guess this could be merchant or traffic source, right? Is they say, hey, the AOV is $100, right? Mm-hmm. Well, is it $100 for all of your traffic channels, or is it $120 for Google and $80 for Facebook and $95 for Shopify? You know what I mean? It's so that's a good way to break it down because it generally is different. They're different types of buyers. Even like native, right? They're coming in cold. They may be like less of an AOV than something like Facebook where you can warm them up, because they have more trust built in when they buy. So it's really important to look at that type of stuff.
And that's something we can put over here under the quick filters is right by traffic source. Mm-hmm. So this is where it could be, we don't have the example right here. It'd be more like our lifetime value video, which you can go check out as well. But it'd be by source, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, whatever you want to do. What is the AOV difference between where they're coming from? Yeah, great pinpoint. Thank you. All right, let's jump to the next one. We're talking about AOV trend we've got. Now, this one I think is really, really cool. So when do customers order specifically? Time of day and day of week. All right, this is a pretty neat one. And Jeremy, I don't know if you had seen this one from before.
Yep. Well, this was actually a little brainchild between Jeremy and myself that we developed together. His request, and we built it based off that. So,
all right.
I'll just explain how to read this graph, and then maybe Jeremy can jump in to see what the value is out of it. But what we've got here is a 24-hour period in the day on the x-axis, and then each individual line is a different day of week. So we're trying to identify trends in purchasing behavior. So when are customers purchasing? And then, if we see any spikes, or we definitely see this lull in this data. So nobody's coming to purchase things from this customer in the early morning hours, but even up until noon, people don't pick up anything until noon for them, right?
Right.
Super interesting that people are active 2 a.m. right?
Night owls.
That is, yeah. And just
maybe
point out,
maybe they've got some TV ads running late at night.
Yeah, this is the last 6 months though, but also right here we have it on first order only, right? Which is good to know as well.
Yeah, because repurchase orders, if you got subscription,
it's not going to really make sense.
Business, those are going to ship at 7 a.m. every single month, right? So that would skew the data. So probably best to keep it at first order.
I wonder if we just change this to 12, what that looks like. Still very similar for that pattern. Cool.
Yeah. And one of the big ways that I like to do this, right, is just for day parting when you're doing traffic. And if you see this and you say, hey, you know what, nobody's buying between 6 and 10, right? Then it's like, why don't we just shut ads off because we're spending all the money there, but nobody's actually buying. They're not buying until later, right? So it's just one of those extra things that you can do to reduce your costs or kind of just get more marketing efficiency.
Yep. Always reducing waste. Exactly. Where can you do that? And then on the other side, it's when you're seeing these bigger spikes, what more can we do?
Yeah.
do a Facebook Live. Go more consistently on those specific days at that specific time range. Do some cool Q&A stuff, product reviews. Do more social media posts at that time. Do some sort of a promos or sales at that specific time, and make it time based. So there's a lot of cool ways you can reduce the waste and not spend money, and then optimize what is actually working. And then in between that, you're gonna get some big winners there. So this is a really cool chart. I think I've seen some really odd ones. Like they're not all like this. There's have some really weird spikes at 8 a.m. for whatever reason with their clientele. So this will tell a different story depending on the client's data.
One real quick thing. I've noticed a big difference when you're running promos. When you end that promo, because usually you should get a huge spike right before it ends. But if you get this wrong, like in this one, if you ended it at 8 a.m. or whatever, you're going to see a big dip in sales. So this also show you when. So in this case, it'd be midnight. Which is kind of that's generally when to end it. But again, it depends on the market. It depends on what your customer's doing. If they're out raving at midnight, then don't do it then.
Yeah. No, this is a cool one. I like this one. Super helpful. Yeah. Austin, anything to add there?
I've actually been pretty curious for a while, so I'd love to pick your two brilliant marketing brains on this one. How could we best determine if this is caused by us or if it's really natural behavior, right? Because we talked about, we could optimize when we place ads. Well, what if you're actually only placing ads at that time, right? And so you're causing it. Any insights into that?
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, first, you guys know, I love split testing. I have a funnel optimization, agency. So you could do run ads where it's just, there's no day parting whatsoever. And it's just totally even. And that'll give you kind of accurate data here. That's probably what I would do. And then test that against kind of different times and shutting it off here, shutting it off there. But in terms of getting, traffic, that's pretty much what I would do. Just have it start even, right? Where it's showing evenly across the board. And sometimes, Facebook kind of determines when they do that and that sort of thing. But one setting, right, on most traffic channels, Facebook, Google, all of them, is you can do it to it essentially where it's say you're spending whatever, $1,000 a day, you can either check it to have, spread it evenly, or do it as fast as you can until it hits your budget. So in that case, spread it evenly, right? Don't do it to, until it hits your budget. Because usually it's if you're doing 1,000, it's and then it shuts off the rest of the day, Right. So pretty much do it evenly to figure out when customers are buying, and then, get the data and then do that where you have it during certain segments of the day.
Nice.
Yeah. Nothing really to add to that. That's a great answer. Cool. And then let's see, for this section, let's go review one more time here. So we got the revenue by state, revenue by product, that is filterable by the product you click on, percentage of purchases from new customers, the AOV trend by month. We've talked about the when do customers order, time of day, and day of week, promo code comparison. And this is really just a kind of a grouped view, right, of the promo code, the AOV for that promo code, the revenue derived from that promo code, and then the order count, how many orders are produced. So it's an easy snapshot way of across the board your different promo codes, and then of course you can just select them on or off for here. Pretty nice little view. I don't know if this is a lot of this is built into shopping carts and stuff, but it's just a nice way of looking into it. These are all just sample ones, but I think this is a pretty cool add-on.
Yeah, I think it's maybe just a little more direct of a way to look at something that Jeremy brought up on the AOV card, right? Where if you're trying to compare promo codes, well, might as well just come to this table than rather clicking around that graph. But this gives you a real easy way to compare those AOVs against each other.
Yeah. And it also helps you understand where your holes are in your naming conventions or your organization or your SOPs. Because if these look like gibberish, then there's a mistake. Somebody put out a bad promo code. Yeah. People are trying to type in whatever. So you can start looking at any of those kind of things as well. But it's nice to see right next to each other. So that's a really cool section, right? It's not the most game changing for a business, but it's really nice to have right in this one section of, again, where is our revenue coming from? And you can drive several different business questions from here. So thank you guys. I appreciate your input on these as always. And then we'll go on.
One last thing, AJ. Sorry, I just don't want to leave anybody that's watching this hanging. As you were talking just a couple of seconds ago, you had re-mentioned the filter on the product card.
Yeah.
I just want to call out that that actually works on all the other cards. For example, if you were to go click on Texas, right, it's going to apply a filter to Texas, right?
Oh,
so you can see who's purchasing.
Oh, man.
It works.
So there's an
across all
AOV
these.
trend that's really neat. So right here, we don't have percentage of purchases from new customers from Texas. Is that just?
That's interesting. I'm not sure if I could talk about that one specifically, but yeah, maybe
As
we're not
California
getting
came
any
back.
customers in the last 12 months. They're only repeat customers.
Right.
Hard to say, but.
No promo codes used in California very much. But that's really neat that you can do that. So all of this is interactive.
Yep. Exactly.
No, that's great to know. Thank you for stopping me. That's that Steve Jobs. Like, wait, there's one more thing from Apple, the famous words.
Yeah.
Then maybe that's your new thing, Austin.
There you go.
Wait, I'll always start to move on. And you just go, wait, I have one more thing. So I always want you to keep that in your back pocket.
Oh, wait, there's more.
Yes, there's
Gotcha.
more. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you. We'll see you on the next metric. If you all want to learn more about us, you can go to praxismetrics.com and type in a live chat, ask us any questions about these videos, or comment below the video. Thanks so much.